That's you. Bald head, greasy apron, standing behind a flat top grill in a diner somewhere outside Boston. October 23rd, 2077. You don't know it yet, but this is the last morning the world makes sense. The diner is small, 6 stools at the counter, a Nuka-Cola clock on the wall, the radio is playing some old swing tune between news reports. You flip 2 burgers and slide them onto a plate. A trucker at the end of the counter is eating without looking up. And right there, second stool from the left, a guy with short brown hair and round glasses is tapping the counter waiting for his order. You slide the plate to him. He adjusts his glasses, looks at the burger, looks at you, and grins. Tips you a whole $1. Best tipper you've had all week. You don't know his name yet. You will. The radio switches to a news update. Something about Chinese submarines off the coast. The trucker looks up from his plate for the first time. Tsienka's voice cracks halfway through a sentence. You've never heard that before on the radio. You wipe your hands on your apron. Look out the window. The street looks normal. Cars rolling past. A kid on a bicycle. Nothing wrong. Everything wrong. Then the sirens start. Not the test sirens you heard once a month growing up. These don't stop. The Voltec emergency broadcast cuts through the radio. This is not a drill. The trucker knocks his plate off the counter running for the door. The guy with the glasses is already gone. Stool spinning empty. You rip off your apron, throw it on the grill. You run out the front door. People sprinting in every direction. A car smashes into a fire hydrant. There's no Volt near here. Voltec came to your neighborhood once. They smiled, took your name, and never called back. You weren't on the list. You make it 3 blocks before the sky turns white. The heat hits first. Then the shockwave picks you up off the sidewalk and throws you through a store window. Glass everywhere. Dust. You're on the floor of a pharmacy. Shelves collapse on top of you. You cover your head and wait for it to stop. When you open your eyes, the pharmacy is half gone. You crawl out from under the shelves. The diner across the street is burning. You look toward Boston. 3 mushroom clouds rising slow. You look down the street. Nobody moving. You're standing in the middle of a dead road and you're alive and you don't know why. The apron is gone. The grill is melting. The last burger you ever cooked is on fire. The first 3 days are just walking. Buildings with their fronts ripped off like doll houses. Cars melted into the asphalt. You find food in a grocery store that's missing its roof. Canned beans and a box of fancy-led snack cakes that somehow survived a nuclear blast. You eat with your fingers sitting on the checkout counter. Day 4, you notice your hands. The skin on your knuckles is cracking. You scratch it and a piece comes off. Under it, the skin is raw and pink and wrong. Day 5, your skin starts falling out. Clumps of it in your palm every time you touch your head. Day 7, you find a pond. Greenish water, probably radioactive, but enough to see a reflection. You lean over and look down. The face looking back has your eyes. That's it. Everything else is wrong. The skin is pulled tight in some places and sagging in others. Your nose looks flattened. The top of your head is covered in a web of thin cracks. You touch your cheek. A piece of skin peels away under your fingertip. You flick it into the water and watch the ripples erase your reflection. 2 weeks after the bombs, you find other survivors. A family camped inside a gutted gas station. You step out with your hands up. The man grabs a pipe wrench. He's not looking at your hands. He's looking at your face. The woman whispers something. You catch one word. Ghoul. You don't know what that means yet. You will. Over the next 2 months, you try 5 settlements. 2 turn you away before you get within shouting distance. 1 lets you trade through a slot in their wall like a vending machine. 1 shoots at you. No warning. No conversation. 3 months alone. The longest conversation you've had since the bombs was with a red roach that followed you for half a mile. You didn't kill it. It was the only thing that didn't run away. You're starting to forget what your own voice sounds like, and that scares you more than the mirror ever did. But somewhere out there, walking down a different road through the same broken world, a man is looking for exactly what you're looking for. 3 years after the bombs, you're scavenging a collapsed hospital outside Lexington. You're pulling Stimpaks out of a cabinet when you hear footsteps in the hallway. You grab a pipe pistol, press yourself against the wall. A ghoul steps through the doorway. Short brown hair sticking up in uneven patches. Round glasses with a crack through the left lens. And a grin. A full, completely inappropriate grin, on a face that lost a fight with a cheese grater. He sees your gun, raises hands. One of them is holding a box of fancy-led snack cakes. He says, "Nice gun. You gonna shoot me or can we split these?" You lower the pistol. He sits down on a hospital bed, tears open the box and tosses you a snack cake. 10 seconds of silence before he starts talking. His name is Max. He was at a diner when the sirens went off. Ran 3 blocks, hid in a pharmacy basement. Sound familiar? He doesn't say it like a tragedy. He says it like a bad vacation story. You ask how long he's been alone. He counts on his fingers. Says about 3 years, holds up his hand and wiggles his fingers. Says he's lost count and also 2 fingernails. So the math is getting harder. You don't laugh. But something in your chest loosens for the first time in 3 years. You leave the hospital together. Not because you agreed to team up. Just the same direction. Then the same direction lasts a week. Then you stop pretending it's a coincidence. 2 weeks in, you run into raiders. 4 of them under a highway overpass. They see 2 ghouls and figure easy targets. Bad math. Max picks up a tire iron. You've got the pipe pistol. 30 seconds later, 4 raiders are on the ground and Max is adjusting his cracked glasses like nothing happened. Around the campfire, Max tells you his theory. Ghouls aren't cursed. Ghouls are upgraded. Radiation immunity, extended lifespan, no need for sunscreen ever again. He taps his cracked skin and says, "This is just the packaging." You don't agree. You stare at your own hands in the firelight. You pull your sleeve down and change the subject. One day you find a pre-war clothing store. In the back, on a mannequin that somehow survived the apocalypse, there's a brown leather jacket. Your size. You put it on. Max asks if you're gonna start collecting fedoras too. You ignore him. You don't take the jacket off. Not that day, not any day after. The jacket becomes your skin. It covers the parts that remind you what's happening to your body. Max wears his shredded checkered shirt with both sleeves gone and doesn't care. You wear a dead man's jacket and pretend you're still the person who cooked burgers in a diner that doesn't exist. You hear a rumor about a doctor working on a cure for ghoulification. You trade 6 stimpaks for directions. You find him in a concrete bunker. He takes one look at you and says, "You're too far along. Treatment only works in the first 6 months. You're 3 years past that." You walk out. Max is sitting on a rock outside chewing on a mudfruit. He doesn't ask what the doctor said. He holds out a mudfruit. You take it. You keep looking for a cure. Every rumor, every lead. Max comes with you to the first floor. After the 5th one, he stops coming. You always come back with the same face. Then you find Good Neighbor. You see the neon sign glowing through the fog. Max stops walking. He stands there looking at it like a man who just found water in a desert. Inside it's dirty, loud, and smells like camps. Drifters everywhere. A guy in a colonial costume giving a speech on a balcony. And ghouls. Ghouls everywhere. Walking around, trading, laughing, no one flinching. A ghoul bartender pouring drinks for a human customer and they're arguing about baseball like the world never ended. Max wipes his cracked lens on his shirt, looks at you, says, "I think I'm gonna stay here for a while." You stay for 2 weeks. You cook at the bar, people eat your food and come back. Max is already playing cards with 3 ghouls and a human who owes him 12 caps, but you can't stop looking at your hands. Even here you care. You still wear the jacket zipped to your chin. Max finds you packing your bag one morning. He asks where you're going. You say there's another lead, a scientist near the coast. Max nods. He walks you to the gate, shakes your hand, says you know where to find me. You come back 7 months later. Max is behind the bar now. He's got a job, a room, regulars. He sees you walk in and slides a drink across the counter before you sit down. Like you never left. You come back again a year later. And again. And again. Every time Max is there. Every time he slides you a drink. Every time you leave chasing something that might not exist. 10 years pass like this. 20, 50. Max stays in Good Neighbor. Pours drinks, tells jokes, smiles at everyone who walks through the door. 2 ghouls, same blast, same road, completely different directions. 210 years after the bombs. You're walking south on the cracked highway. The leather jacket is worn to threads at the elbows, but it holds together, like you. Good Neighbor Looks the same as it did 50 years ago. Same neon sign, same drifters. You push through the gate and walk toward the bar. Max is behind the counter. Same spot. Same cracked glasses. He looks up when the door swings open. He looks at you. And for 1 second, maybe 2, his eyes don't register anything. Then he blinks. The grin comes back. He slides a drink across the counter. But that pause, that 1 second where he looked at you like a stranger, you felt it in your chest like a cold nail. Day 2. Max is telling a story to a customer. The rat stag that looked like his old boss. He's told it 1,000 times. Halfway through he stops. Eyes go somewhere else. Then he starts the story over from the beginning. Same words, same poses. Like record skipping. Day 3. A drifter bumps into Max near the storeroom. An accident. Max spins around and grabs the drifter by the throat. Lifts him off the ground. Teeth bared. Eyes wide and empty. You grab Max's arm. You say his name. Once, twice, 3 times. On the third, his fingers loosen. He drops the drifter. Stands there looking at his own hand like it belongs to someone else. He says, I don't know why I did that. You've never heard Max quiet before. That night, Max is sitting at the bar alone in the dark. You sit down next to him. He says, I forgot Eddie's name yesterday. Eddie, the guy who's been coming here every day for 11 years. I looked at his face and there was nothing. He came back an hour later and it clicked. But for that whole hour he was nobody. He takes off his glasses, puts them on the bar. He says it's happening, isn't it? He says, I've seen it before. We both have. Starts with names. Then the gaps get wider. Then one day you're standing in a room and you don't know why you're there or what your own name sounds like. He puts the glasses back on. The crack in the left lens catches the neon light. He says, funny, right? I spent all this time telling you to accept what we are. Stop chasing cures. Stop wearing that jacket like armor. Just be a ghoul. He taps the counter once. And I'm the one who's losing it first. Max puts his hand on the counter, palm up. Morning. Good neighbor's quiet. The neon sign is off. Sunlight pushes through the fog. Max is already at the bar, sitting on the customer side this time. First time you've ever seen that. 2 glasses on the counter, both full. His glasses are clean, even the cracked lens is polished. You sit down, he slides 1 glass to you, you both drink. It burns. He says, I'm not gonna make it another month. Maybe not another week. Yesterday I stood in my own room and didn't know whose stuff I was looking at. He takes his glasses off, folds them carefully, places them on the counter between you. He says, I'm not becoming a feral. I'm not waking up in a subway tunnel on all fours, eating a rat and not knowing I used to have a name. He pushes the glasses toward you. He says, you're the only person in this world I trust to do this right. I wanted to be outside, somewhere with sky. You pick the glasses up, they weigh nothing. They weigh everything. Max walks around the bar one last time, runs his fingers along the counter, straightens a bottle on the shelf. You walk outside together, past Eddie sitting on a crate who says, Morning Max, and Max says, Morning Eddie, and this time he remembers the name and you can see on his face how much that costs him. You walk through the gate, out into the wasteland. The fog is burning off, the sky is opening up. Max stops walking at an open patch of dirt with a dead tree and a view of the horizon in every direction. He says, this is good, this is sky. He turns to you, he's smiling, the real smile. The one from the hospital, from the campfire, from every time he slid you a drink. 200 years of that smile. He says, for what it's worth, I think you were the better cook. Don't let anyone tell you different. You're shaking. Max sees your hands trembling. He reaches out and holds them, steadies them. He lets go, turns around, faces the horizon, puts his hands in his pockets, takes the deepest breath you've ever heard anyone take. He says, okay. The wasteland is quiet after. You're standing in an open field with a dead tree and a pair of cracked glasses in your left hand. You put the glasses in your jacket pocket, the left side, over your chest. Then you do something you haven't done in 210 years. You unzip the jacket, pull it off your shoulders. Brown leather, cracked and barely holding together. You've been wearing this thing since the day you found it on a mannequin in a dead store. You wore it to cover what you are. You fold the jacket, set it on the ground next to the dead tree. You take the glasses out of the pocket first, hold them over your chest. For the first time in 2 centuries, you're standing in the open with nothing covering your cracked skin. The sun hits your shoulders and you don't flinch. Max was right. He was always right. You don't fix what the radiation did. You don't outrun it. You just keep going. You keep cooking. You keep walking. You turn toward the road. The wasteland stretches out in front of you. You take a step, then another. You're a ghoul. You've been a ghoul for 210 years. You've been shot at, turned away, chased, feared, and forgotten. But you're still here, still walking, still you.